World Cup winning Bryce Bennett on the phone here in the garage. Bryce Bennett, how does it feel to be a World Cup winner?
It feels good.
Welcome back to the Race Recap. Probably the best source for ski racing analysis on the internet. Literally. Today we are going to be talking about the races that happened before the Christmas break. Today's December 27th. A couple programming notes for the show moving forward. I am going to be moving to a once-a-week format. I, in my head, thought that I could do a race recap for every single race on the World Cup. However, that turns out to be completely impossible. There's no way I can do any other videos if I'm running that kind of a pace and a schedule. So this will be the second Tuesday release in a row. I am going to be shooting all of the shows on Mondays, and then I'll release them on Tuesdays. 7:30 a.m. Eastern time. So that'll be what you can expect from the race recap moving forward, is every Tuesday, waking up early, eating your Cheerios, and hearing about the latest ski racing action. Today we are discussing the men's second GS from Alta Badia. We will also be discussing the ladies' two GSs in Courchevel. And then we have a really special thing happening. I have an interview that I did with Bryce Bennett, World Cup winning Bryce Bennett. That'll be coming up in the third segment. Stick around for that. It is well worth the watch. I think that we're going to get into more technique stuff than you hear in a lot of other places. So stick around. And then finally, we'll finish up with the men's slalom from Medano de Campillo. It was awesome. Jumping into the men's GS from Alta Badia, this was race number 2. And in the first race, we saw Henrik Kristoffersen stomp a second run and really flat out beat Odermatt. In race number 2, Odermatt came back out, established himself, went out, won the first run again like he's been doing, and then coming out in the second run and putting down a super quality race winning run that nobody else was able to match. Odermatt reestablished his dominance of the GS. He wins by a full second. When he's on his game, it takes Kristoffersen type game to dethrone him. But the bigger story for me coming out of the second race was Luca de Alprendini. He is so sick to watch when he is on his game, or even any other day for that matter. Luca de Alprendini. Luca de Alprendini is probably the highest edge angle guy on the World Cup right now. Zan Kranchak is usually in that discussion, but right now he doesn't have his A game. River Radamus is also another guy in that discussion for highest edge angle in a World Cup. When Luca de Alprendini can throw down a run like top to bottom where he never gets late, never gets behind the course, he is a top tier podium guy, and this is him executing that and showing it. And I couldn't be more fired up to get to watch Dale Prendini ski at this level and put it all the way down, because when he's doing it, it's so exciting. It is certainly like a high risk technique, and risk is going to be something that we're going to get into in the rest of this episode today. So what does Dale Prendini do that gives him risk? Well, Dale Prendini is running an extremely tight line. And we hear this word risk a lot in the World Cup. And I think what a lot of people think immediately is, oh, just go straighter at the gates. That is not necessarily true. And in fact, it is not what risk is. That being said, when Dale Prendini is skiing his best, he is running fairly direct at the gate. This is a typical ski racing rut at the end of a World Cup. All right, so you get the high line, the people came in here and they're able to come out relatively high to the bottom of the gate and moving straight across the course. Then you get the more straighter lines right in here that come in, and there's gonna be all sorts of chatters, chops in here, and then they usually go a little bit later and have to belly back to there. Okay, now this is kind of the two extremes on the course. What Dale Prendini can do when he's skiing his best, he comes in down here, boom, boom, boom. There's a pretty good power stiv that he throws. It's pretty strong where he's schmearing, and he's probably getting the tip, middle, and tail of the ski to push into the schmear. Okay, so he's bending the ski into a schmear, and then he comes in tight, and then he comes in here, somewhere in here, and loops off just the tightest arc you've ever seen, because his hip is so low to the ground. His skis are angulated so much. He's running such a crazy tight arc, and then he's riding the pressure and riding the ski across through here. And so his risk is running this tight of a line. So he's towards the inside. He's not the straightest guy, but he's towards the inside at the top of the turn, and he's absolutely at the top or to the inside at the bottom of the turn too. And when you can do that, it's a tidy way to ski, and it's fast, and he shows it out there. But it's a high-risk maneuver. Why is it a high-risk maneuver? Because when you come through this here, when you're putting in that many angles and that much pressure, the potential for it to like or blow out or have that ski jump on you or something like that is even more likely that it's going to happen because you're running so much more pressure and such a tighter arc on the ski. And then you look at your room of your window of effort, and it's really tight. You're condensing all that effort super tight right here, where if you were to come in with a higher line here, you could run just a longer radius and end up in the same exit. And so that'd be a less risky way to get there. It's not as fast, but as I'm trying to define risk, Dale Prandini is risky because he's coming in and running such a tight arc. It's not because he's coming in so straight. Minor ski avalanche in the entryway. So that is Dale Prandini's risk right there. Alexander Schmid, third place. He is about as normal, regular, a basic body position as there is on the World Cup. Everything that he does is clearly defined in his skiing. You can watch his ankle to knee to hip. Those lines are extremely clean at all times. They're very set together. And then you can see where he's putting the pressure on the skis really easily because that's all so defined. He's solid. He's fluid. It's a beautiful technique, like absolutely beautiful. And it's nice for him to finally be fast with it. He got most of the race done on his first run. And I think on the first run, he was out there running a clean line, clean arc, and that was few and far between on the second day of racing. And so that put himself into third. He has a good second run, not a great second run, but he's able to hold off Henrik Kristoffersen and get himself third place in a World Cup, and it's just awesome. Kristoffersen ends up fourth, Feller fifth, Justin Maurissier sixth. Maurissier looks like a real deal GS guy this year. I didn't expect him to be in top 10s like this, but he is. And so here's a guy that we can start to watch and see, okay, is he going to break in the top 5 and start doing more than just top 10 runs? But really amazing skiing from Maurissier. He's running a little bit of the jump switch like Odermatt runs. River Adamus, 10th place. Not as good as the day before, but you know what? Like, still, his worst finish on the season is 10th place in the World Cup. The kid is skiing good. It's awesome. I hope he can get some rest and continue to just feel better about his body and be able to throw down his absolute best and get himself on the podium sooner than later. This is another crazy race where there's a lot of people outside of the top 10 that are of note. Lucas Braithen, Zan Kranchek, Philip Zubchik, Eric... I want to talk about Eric Reed and Trevor Philp here. They went 1-2 on the second run. Trevor Philp won the second run in Alta Badia with some sick skiing. I said it before. He's got some fast skiing in him. He showed it. He wins the run. Eric Reed comes down 100th behind him. He's second on the run. And the two Canadians rode it out in the leader's chair. Let's see, they were 27 and 25, and they ended up 15th and 14th. And just some tremendous skiing from the Canadians. I like what I'm seeing right now from those guys. Let's see here. Other American guys, Bridger Guile and George Steffi, not making it down fast. They need more edge sets. They need more free runs. The ladies' GS in Courchevel was tricky. The snow looked tricky. I don't know if it was crazy firm because the temperatures were actually pretty warm. And I don't know how they got the snow looked firm enough from TV, but based on the sounds it was making and the chatter the girls were having in their skiing, it was clearly choppy. But I'm not sure why it's choppy if it's firm. So I think what happened is it's kind of like a Mount Hood ice crumbly surface, possibly freeze thaw situation. I'm not totally positive, but it was funny the way the snow was. Michaela Schifrin gets the win in the first one, second in the second one. She looked good. She's stronger, a little more. This is the kind of condition where Michaela's just a little more confident than the other girls. When she gets her ski up into the position she wants it to be, it carves, okay? In these kind of conditions, this isn't really the line or the groove that you see from those girls. You see a lot of this. You see a lot of this outside line being a vertical wall. A vertical wall, okay? And this is what a lot of the girls are running in Courchevel, and Michaela, and the girls who are being successful are running the vertical wall technique, where they're coming in, and now there's a lot of chatters coming in here because there's a lot of sliding in the skis, but the best and the easiest way to maintain speed when you got a really tough snow surface is to just find the skis in the fall line and then bend them into it. You come in, kind of do the stivvy with the skis where you let the tails drift out, but you're never trying to slide and slow down. You're only trying to get your skis to the vertical wall to set your edge and go, because it's an easier place to go from there versus this trying to add in the rolling in. When you add in rolling in on weird snow that's bumpy and choppy, then this is the spot where if you bump and chop your skis, the skis go up, and because your momentum's still going this way, you hip out and you're gone. And so to minimize the risk of rolling in the skis here and having the bumpy part be up here, and if you bump here, go out here, then you have a late pressure and you have to arc your way back into the course. That's no good. So you eliminate the risk of any kind of roll up and you come in for these vertical pressure turns. And Michaela did a great job of these vertical pressure turns in Courchevel. A lot of sliding in the skis through here, but just going for vertical pressure. The ski is getting engaged in a bend, I would say, and she is trying to bend the whole ski as it's coming in, but just really going for this outside ski pressure here. Boom, carve it back, maintain speed to the next gate, do another vertical wall. Again, these slides in are like a zero feather, like where you're trying to lose as little speed as possible, where like a power stiv, River Adama style, is a decreased speed so you can speed up again kind of stiv. Dale Prandini also power stivs in, slows himself down so he can speed up. But this is this vertical wall technique is all about just conserving momentum and keeping your speed going. And that's something Michaela did in this race better than the other girls, especially in day one when she was really the class of the field. Day two, however, Sarah Hector put it down, and Sarah Hector flat out beat Michaela, and Sarah Hector did it on the pitch by having more roll here, took more risk on the pitch, and then on flat, I don't even know how Sarah Hector did it. To be quite honest, I think on the second run, Michaela made a little mistake early in the flat, and that took her speed away. And this Courchevel track was one where you had to maintain speed. And you saw in Michaela in the finish line, she knew that little mistake cost her what would be a World Cup winning run. Because I'd say she lost 7-8 tenths there, even though to Sarah Hector and everyone else, she only lost 3 tenths to them. But if she had maintained that speed, she would have been 7-8 tenths up at the bottom had she not made that 3/10 mistake there. Sarah Hector on the upper pitch had more roll in here. And I'll tell you what, Sarah Hector has the closest skiing to Ted Ligety of people on the head equipment, just because it looks, you see head equipment, you think Ted Ligety. Sarah Hector looked the most like Ted Ligety of anyone on head equipment, men or women, in the GS game. Just saying. And then Sarah Hector on the flats didn't make the mistake that Michaela made and was able to make the wall and ride technique go as fast as Michaela all the way down. She was dynamic. Maybe Sarah Hector had a touch more rolling on the flats, but I don't really think so. Okay? Courchevel's a weird one where that pitch keeps you going. You have a couple rolls, but then there's those 2 dead flat portions, and you have to maintain your speed there. And even if you lose 2 miles per hour up here, that's 2 miles per hour you don't have through all these probably 20 gates. And that was Michaela's game in the first race, was she kept all the speed up here, never lost to 2 miles an hour, and boom, across that whole flat, just had more speed than everybody. Marta Bassino is back after 2 DNFs that were really tough to watch. She comes back third place. She's super excited about it. I like that. Looking over the results, I was reminded again that Bassino is a year younger than Michaela Schifrin. So this is one of the few girls who's actually younger than Michaela. So when you see Bassino beat Michaela and then contend with her and be on a podium with her, to keep in your mind that she's younger than Michaela, like she's someone who could be around for a long time and continue to push Michaela. I don't think she's just a flash in the pan. I think Bassino's going to be here for a long time. Camille Rast. She was fantastic out there. My dad sent me a Europa Cup result a couple weeks ago where that Hannah Elfman from Sweden had done well in a GS. I think she was 5th, but Camille Rast was 2nd in the race. And the first thing I saw when he sent it to me was Camille Rast 2nd in a GS in a Europa Cup. And I sent right back to him. I said, she's going to be better in GS than slalom on the World Cup. And I think she is. I think in slalom, she was able to put some runs down every once in a while, but never was able to put runs down, or really doesn't have the speed to be a top 10 slalom skier right now. But with her charging style, her aggressiveness, her grittiness, willingness to be in the fall line, I think GS plays out better for her on the World Cup. And now I expect Camille Rast to be a better GS skier on the World Cup than in slalom. She used slalom to break in. She got her first chance on the World Cup in slalom, like a lot of people do. Ted Ligety came up this route, and now I think she's going to come up in GS. Who knows where she's going to end up? Couple of solid results this weekend. Looking forward to watching her. Paula Moltzen was 2nd in the second run on the second day with some sick skiing. Paula Moltzen has some Luca Dale Prandini skiing in her. She's got some Zan Kranchek skiing in her. Cross the reference those on your own. See it, believe it. Paula Moltzen is good. AJ Hertz making second runs. Nina O'Brien appears to be struggling. Cassidy Gray just got a NorAm win in GS, goes over to the World Cup. Didn't quite have her A game. The skiing is there. She's got the speed. She has the body position to be there the whole way. I'm not quite sure what didn't go right for Cassidy Gray out there. Friend of the show, Cassidy Gray. The skiing is absolutely there. I think in the next World Cup, she makes a second run, makes it easily. Katie Hensian, not there in GS. Michaela Tommy, didn't see her. Keely Cashman needs a headspace break. Where is Valerie Grenier? Oh, why isn't she in the World Cup? Does anyone know? Courchevel looks like a dynamite place to go on vacation. But before we go on that vacation, let's take a look at the interview that I did with Bryce Bennett 3 days after he won his first World Cup downhill. Let's get into it. All right, everybody, we have an extremely special presentation here. I have Bryce Bennett, newly World Cup winning Bryce Bennett, on the phone here in the garage. Bryce Bennett, how does it feel to be a World Cup winner?
It feels good. I mean, finally. It just took way too long, but I'm pretty fired up, and I think a lot of people are fired up. So it was cool to finally get it done.
Dude, you skied fantastic. The cleanest finish to a run we've seen in a really long time. I don't know if I've seen one this clean. A couple years ago, you did an interview on the Pieced Off podcast with James Taucus, and you talked about being on the front of the boot, or needing to be on the front of the boot 90% of the time in downhill. Was this run like you achieving that goal?
Yeah, I mean, I've been kind of sucking all year, and I sucked in all the training runs. And I was watching video with Scotty Venus, my coach, and our other coach, Kanan, and I was showing him some of my transitions, and I was just moving up and inside. So I was like, I can't do that. So then I made a good plan of like what I need to do on the course, and I was like, I'm just going to keep a little lower in the transitions and then just move to the outside on every turn. And then, yeah, I was probably like 5 minutes before I kicked out of the gate, I was leaning on my poles, and I was like, are you going to be remembered as the guy who just leaned in all the time? That's what you're going to be remembered for, just leaning in. So I was like, I mean, you can make that decision, and that's fine, or you can make the other decision and see what happens. So I was like, yeah, probably just let's not lean in here.
So was your focus more pushing outside than forward into the boot?
Yeah, exactly. it's just like, for me and like my setup right now, it's more like I need to generate speed to bend the ski at the top.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I just think about like, once I get that power, I stay with the ski a touch longer and then move with the power. But I got to go to the outside again as early as possible.
Yeah. So are you, when you're trying to go to the outside again, are you now more?
I think about it with my hips. Like if I had like a PVC rod, like that was just drilled through my hips, that it just matches the snow at all times.
So you're just thinking about keeping super level, and are you thinking more of sinking your hips into the turn as you push outside now, or is there a forward movement component with the initiation?
Yeah, not so much forward, because just the way my setup is right now, I don't really have to like the 4 afters is too much. It's just more like starting to build pressure on the outside ski as soon as possible.
I love what you're saying right now, because I think it fits right in line with what I've been seeing and talking about here. Do you find that when you have your speed and your momentum properly flowing, that you can almost just go, you're not going totally lateral, because that's kind of a lazy way to go, but you're just sinking into it and just having the skis catch on the outside versus thinking about these big rolled up turns? Is that?
Yeah, exactly. And in speed, it's not so much like the up and down. Like in GS, you can get away with, like, Odermatt comes up a lot. And then just like stings fall line as hard as I've ever seen anyone.
It's phenomenal.
It's amazing. It's like I've never seen anything quite like it.
Yeah.
And then for me, like, well, in speed, like, you got to move with the power, but you can't. You got to keep the power going the way you want it. And as soon as you start coming up in transitions, like, you just lose everything that you just built, and you never get it back. It's more like
you lose the energy out the top.
Yeah, all that power you just created, then just go straight up and not forward.
Yeah.
So I am like moving forward. I don't consciously think about that anymore. It's
Good.
just like,
dude,
that happened, and then
So have you gone back and watched your run?
Yeah, I've watched it a decent amount.
To my eye, it was there's a flat right-footed like horseshoe turn before you go into the Chaslot? Is that the rolls at the bottom?
Yep.
What's that right-footed flat turn called?
No idea.
No, okay. But that turn there,
I know what you're talking about.
That turn there, to my eye, was where I could see as the race progressed, you had the good run there, and everybody who got squashed low there, they'd have to put too much pressure to make that gate, and they didn't have the momentum through the Chaslot. Is that where you identify your separation?
So there's 2 turns before it, right? So you do the big camel jump.
Yeah.
And then you're straight lining down, and then you have a right, left, right, and then you're in the Chaslot.
Yep.
And the first right footer is like, it's just like the tempo goes from like fast, deep, dark bowl to like super G tempo, like so quickly. And there's a lot of terrain.
Does that enter with that little roll, kind of on the right foot roll, and then you find the left foot?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And then, so I usually like try and cut as much distance as possible in there. Like, dudes will swing that way out, and I try and go straight because I can use that to my advantage. But yeah, I was watching video, and Kilda was like he was on the same line and just cleaned it in the second training run. Like,
oh really?
Skied so good. So then we were watching video, and I was talking with Scotty and Kanan, and I was like, if he goes for that line on race day, like, it's going to be tough to pull off. Like, it's just because you needed to carry speed into the Chaslocks, and if you came in straight on the right footer before the Chaslocks, it was like you bled speed.
Totally. And you like didn't have enough momentum.
Give that one a little bit of respect.
You nailed it.
Yeah, it was good.
I think that was different. Now, coming down the bottom, you skied the skis perfectly clean, no spray coming off of them. On the first of the like triple there, your skis in the air were like where you would be kind of moving into a stivet, but then right when you landed, you relaxed your ankles into it and found it. Was that a mental, like, I got to relax my skis, or was that natural?
I think that's just like kind of natural in like my type of skiing, and I've had like good runs through that section before throughout my career, so it was like you just kind of let it happen and let it go with the flow. It's just that kind of just comes natural to me a bit. So
you being a squad, now Palisade skier, is there anything that you can think of back to your days growing up skiing at Squaw, like that specifically where you're like, oh yeah, those days there gave me that ability to now run the Chaz lot perfectly clean? Maybe. Not quite. I think Goldie just got food. I need like 5 minutes. No, maybe like just straight lining on slalom skis to training and just trying to jump rolls as big as I possibly could with Nick Daniels and Keith Moffitt and like that whole crew, and like I think it was just like years of free skiing, you know, where it's just like you just try and arc over terrain, and I don't know, it just kind of comes naturally to me a bit. Well, when I saw you ski that run, I had visions of you. I didn't know you were on slalom skis, but I had visions of you over all that terrain in Squaw, straight lining and hitting jumps. I think that's exactly the way you skied down there, and I think that's a great lesson for young racers, that like those days where you're just, you know, when you get a jump line set up and you have a rhythm down the hill and then you just start taking them bigger and bigger, you know, those days just gave you the run. I think honestly, the BMX racing that I did for 8 years, like from 10 to 16 years old, that helped a lot. That helps a lot too. Just like trying to, because BMX is just like who can make speed out of terrain. It's like a pump track, you know? I did not know you were a BMX racer. That is new to me. That is an exclusive right here. Yeah, I could see it. It totally makes sense. I love it. I really want. I thank you so much for coming on the show, Bryce. Could I ask you a couple quick questions before we go? Yeah, go for it. How much do you win from the FIS for winning a World Cup downhill? There was another prize that I won there, so it was like 50,000 Swiss francs. Oh, that's huge, dude! Yeah, it's definitely a nice payday. Are you getting a boat? Yeah, but I want to get a boat. I'm probably not going to be an idiot and just buy a boat, but I want to. That's disappointing. I think you should get the boat. Dude, congratulations on the other award. I read that and I didn't even know about it, but you were the top Super G and downhill combined guy out there this weekend? Yeah, I didn't score points in Super G. It was like a super tight race, but I think because Kilda went out and then Matthias Meyer was like just far enough behind that it, yeah. Oh! It was the most World Cup points combined. And then the tie goes to the downhill. Dude, congratulations. That's fantastic. How was it sitting in the chair with Matthias Meyer and Vincent Kretschmeyer coming at you? Yeah, it was nerve-wracking. Oh, my God, dude. The way you took down those studs, man, like... I knew Omar and Nils Hinterman were, like, really fast on the top. Yeah. And they were fast all week in training. So, I knew that would be tough to beat. I think Kilder could have done it. He was going super fast. He entered that split real direct. Oh, yeah. But I was nervous there. And then actually there were some guys in the back that freaked me out there for a minute. Like, yep. Simone Joker and Firstel. Was Cassie fast too? Yeah, it was nerve-wracking. Oh, man, dude, I can't even imagine. As soon as I saw like a red light on the top split, I was like, I think I'm good. Oh, because you were good. No one could. All they could do was match your bottom. There's no way they could beat it. Yeah. Oh, dude. Okay. Who on the World Cup speed circuit would you think is most likely to wear five-fingered shoes in the grocery store?
Like most of the German team. Most of the German team.
Oh, I love it, dude. Well, Bryce, thank you so much for coming on the show. You held your hat over your heart, standing on the podium. American flag was waving. We couldn't be more proud of you. Congratulations. Keep it up out there. Do you want to throw a shout out to anybody?
No, just everyone at home, and I appreciate it, all the support. And I've been ahead of controversy in the last couple years, but yeah, I think we can do it. We can make it happen in U.S. skiing. It's possible.
Well, no controversy around here for you, and I believe it too. The American skiing looks very good right now. You guys are doing a fantastic job. Keep it up.
Will do. Thanks for having me.
All right, thanks for coming on.
All right.
So that was my interview with Bryce Bennett. It was an absolute privilege to get to talk to him. I have a ton of thoughts on the things he said about his skiing. I've been digesting it, and I plan on re-releasing this interview on its own with my post-game analysis, as well as incorporating some stuff we've heard from Taco and some other people, and kind of taking the whole big picture of like what is ski racing and what is base skiing and how do we move faster and how do we use these things on the World Cup or as junior athletes to be more successful ski racers. So look forward to that. It's coming soon. For now, though, I want to get into the men's slalom from Madonna de Campillo. This is one of my absolute favorite venues on the World Cup. I like it because dare I say it's easy. Okay, it's not the steepest of the venues. Yes, that one pitch in the middle is extremely steep. I am not underscoring that or underappreciating that in any way. But for the most part, you can go out there and absolutely rip. And I think that's something that Loic Meillard showed on the second run. Like, if you had an early start number in a World Cup on a second run, you could absolutely go out and pin. And that's what Meillard did in that second run. And then you see as you get into Ponereau, Jacobsen, and Fus Solveig, and Clement Noel, they can't match that speed that you can have when you run. What if Meillard goes 2 on the second run? He goes running second on the second run all the way up to 29 to 6 on the second run because you pin it. You can, if you run bib or racer 1 or 2 on the second run, you can pin it and make these moves. Meillard found himself in the position where he could take advantage, went out and did it. These easy hills help for that kind of an awesome move up. It was a fantastic race, super fun to watch. It was an extreme, another gut-wrenching finish to a race when Clement Noel goes down on the last gate when he's up by over a second, or almost a second at the time, was going to be a second at the finish line. And you know that Fus Solveig is standing on top of the podium as not even close to being the fastest skier on the hill that day. And it reminded me of the Levy Slalom when Dave Riding won the first run and Felix Norreiter was sitting in first. Dave Riding was coming down on the second run and went out on the top of the pitch. He hipped out, not even close to the finish line, not like Clement Noel. But that day, Dave Riding had exponential speed on Felix Norreiter, and Felix Norreiter knew it, acknowledged it in the victory comments, and that's what Sebastian Fus Solveig did as well in this race. He, acknowledged that Clement Noel was the class of the field, and I think he was. It was crazy seeing Ponereau out there ripping slalom. They've been really talking about how he's down and doesn't have the passion, and I think maybe Ponereau might just settle himself back in as an excellent slalom skier. He went off, he did the heavy speed load, he did Lake Louise, he did Beaver Creek, and I think maybe that speed load is what took the passion out of him, not the lack of a break after winning the overall World Cup, which is what we're hearing in the broadcast. But I think maybe he's having some fun skiing some slalom. The guy, after he went out and partied, after locking down the overall World Cup last year at World Cup Finals, he won the GS, locked up the overall, went on party, came on the slalom, didn't have any expectations, might have been hungover, and ripped it and was on the podium in that race too. And I think when Ponereau is on the podium in slalom, it just shows how flippin' good the guy is. And I expect him to be a little more consistent in slalom now because I think he's going to find some love and some passion here. Jacobsen on the podium again in third. He is amazing. skiing really, really well. He really pushes his chest in and skis the slalom turn with his whole body. He takes some kind of risk when he does that chest in maneuver. He is trying to get his momentum and his center of mass. And we got to do a slalom gate now. Jakobsen is trying to get a center of momentum, a center of mass as far inside the gate as he can. Okay? Let's really highlight that gate now. Red. There's the gate. Slalom gate. Now, when Jakobsen gets his center mass in, he's willing to let his shoulders come forward to have his center mass even further in. A guy like Ponerow gets his center mass in through his hips. He doesn't let his shoulder rock in to give him more center of mass inside of the feet. Okay, he just lets his hips go in, and he's good with his center mass being his torso over his feet, which are over here. So, Jakobsen is taking risks with his body position as he's coming down the hill. Alex Venetzer, 4th. Awesome to see him out there. Timon Haugen in 5th. That was a total surprise. Loic Meillard made that amazing move up. That was super cool. Giuliano Rizzoli in 7th. That guy's a baller, man. He's good. And then Yohei Yokoyama, a guy from Japan, starts bib 54, comes down 8th. He did not ski with any tendency or fear in the second run, and this is something I think that is different than the other Koreans and Japanese skiers that I've seen out there. He skied with an element of getting after it, fighting for it, trying to go faster, and it was really great to see, and I hope to see him moving up and doing this in the future because it's cool having another guy up there. Victor Mufajande have found his second life in slalom still, 9th place. And then Simone Malberger, who is a nasty skier to watch. Doesn't always put the runs down, but he's nasty to watch. He goes 10th. Totally awesome. Albert Popov, I love him. 11th place. Couldn't be happier for him. Then we look through, and there's some names on here we haven't seen before. There's a lot of different people making the second runs in slaloms now. Let's see. After Popov, we got bib 37, 53, 50, 31, 52, 48. That's a lot of different guys that haven't been in the top 30 in a slalom maybe ever, but in the last couple of years, I think Taco might be right. There's a change into the guard going on in slalom, and it is crazy to see. I love it. Because I'm only shooting one of these a week, I'm going to cut this one short. I am looking forward to really breaking down a men's slalom sooner than later. Look forward to that coming out soon. And as always, if you're liking what you're seeing, hit that thumbs up button, comment, like, subscribe, and tell your friends about this thing. Some guy just commented, says that every coach and athlete in America should be watching this show. I couldn't agree more. Get them on it. Brett, are we good? Buddy, I got to go to bed.